Welcome to the Aro Benaiah Show, where we celebrate the hands, hearts, and mind behind real work and real impact. My guest today is someone whose name is perfectly matched with her energy, the little spark herself. Luann Buechler, she's a transformation coach, speaker, and founder of I Hug Movement, inspiring human connection and joy across community. She's also the creator of Make Your Passion Pay, helping entrepreneurs align their work with purpose and profits. Luann, it's really a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So, Luann, what was it like growing up for you?
I am number 6 of 7 children,
Ooh.
raised in a good Catholic family. And I think that I just did what I was supposed to do all my life, following my brothers and sisters and my parents. And my father was a school teacher. And so we went to school and we needed to get good grades. That was our major responsibility, and engage in the school community.
Yeah, amazing. So, Luann, you are known as the little spark. Where did that name came from, and how does it represent you personally?
So I'm very enthusiastic, high energy person, and very outgoing and engaging with people. I love people. And actually, I was being coached by a business coach who was in training to be a business coach, and she was trying to give me a name. And she said, you're just the queen of this or the princess of that. And I'm like, I am so not a queen or a princess. No. You don't know me putting those names on me, And she goes, well, you're a little firecracker. And I said, so you really got to know is that I am really little. Like, I'm not 5 foot tall, okay? I'm really little. And yet I have this big personality that's out there. And so I didn't really like firecracker either. And I said, I'm just a little bit. And I had a tagline then that just a little spark of change could make a huge impact in your results. And so I became the little spark, and it kind of stuck.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. So before becoming transformation coach, you spent years in hospitality and event planning. What was the stage of your life like, and how did that shape your leadership and who you have become today?
Goodness. Oh my goodness. So like I said, I think I did just what I was supposed to do. And when I was applying for college and trying to figure out my career path, I was sitting on the kitchen floor and filling out college applications. And my father looked at me and he said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Might be a good thing to know before you pick a college. And I kind of looked at him like, what? Like, I'm supposed to follow in your footsteps, aren't I? Be a teacher, And God bless him, he's no longer with us. But what I heard from him that day was, no, go do something else. Now, this is how people who love us help us. This man raised 7 children on a teacher's salary, and he wanted more from me, is really what I learned later, right? He didn't want me to have to struggle with a family on a teacher's salary. And so he said, go do something else. And I was kind of lost. And so I was dating a young man whose father was the president of a local hotel corporation. And one of those hotels was in my hometown. And I live in Rochester, Minnesota, home of the world famous Mayo Clinic. And so we have lots of people coming into our community for healthcare. And so the hospitality industry is really big in our community. And that includes celebrities and kings and all kinds of famous people come through here. So it looked glamorous. And I also knew that I could likely get somewhat of a scholarship from that corporation if I went into the hospitality industry. So that's how I chose to go into the hotel business. Hotel and restaurant management was my first degree at UW South. And I spent 15 years in all operations of the hotels in different hotel chains like Radisson, Hyatt's, Marriott's, learning and participating in the hotel business. So because I worked in every single department that a hotel has, right, you learn lots of different leadership skills and systems and procedures from that, and sometimes from the School of Hard Knocks,
Yeah, amazing. So discovering the passion test seems to have been more like a turning point for you. Can you walk us through the experience and how it changed your outlook on life and business?
So Before I got to that, I left the hotel industry because I had children and I didn't want to work in a 24/7 operation anymore. And then I actually did go work for the Mayo Clinic for, I tell people, 8 years too long because it really wasn't the right fit for me to be in an institution. And when I left that position, I went out to the business world. And wow, it was a whole new world. I don't know if you've ever worked inside an institution, right? Because you're totally in this bubble of this world that exists within that institution. And so when I got out into the rest of the world, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all this whole world out here of business people.
Yeah.
And I got involved in an organization called BNI, Business Network International. I don't know if they have it in Nigeria, but we are in 76 countries.
Oh.
We do business by referrals, and we support each other as business owners and word of mouth marketing. And it was the gentleman that founded that organization that I got to meet, Dr. Ivan Meisner, and he introduced me to the Transformational Leadership Council. Now, I was doing event planning by this time, and so I was supporting them as one of their event planners. And the BNI philosophy is giver's gain. If you give of yourself to help other people be successful, you will naturally gain in return. And the people in the Transformational Leadership Council do that very thing. And so they give away their books and their CDs and their seminars and things like that to each other to help us learn and share and spread the message of their good work in the world. And the Passion Test was one of those things.
Oh, wow.
And when I read the book, The Passion Test, which happens to be over my shoulder here, I fell in love with the concept. And then my daughter helped me put on a seminar where the author of The Passion Test was my keynote speaker.
Oh.
And she came, my daughter had helped her while she was waiting for her turn to speak. And she came out and said, Luann, I want your daughter to get trained in my work. I'm just starting a program for kids and teens, and I need teen leaders. And I think my daughter just wanted to travel with me. She was 16 at the time. And we went to this transformational certification in the work of the Passion Test. I thought I was doing it for her, and I came away going, oh my gosh, I don't know what you're going to do, but I need to teach this system. You see, the BNI organization is a business system of helping each other grow your business by referral, and I was already teaching people that system. The Passion Test is a system of identifying your passions and setting a course to living those in your life. And I said, it's just another system, and I can teach people the system. And more importantly, as a teacher, you're always learning what you're teaching.
Yeah.
So we say we are the teachers living the teachings. And I wanted to live the philosophies of the Passion Test. I wanted to find out truly what I was passionate about and go do that. Now here's the really funny thing. Guess what my favorite thing to do in the world? It's to present and talk and teach. See, I really am a teacher. I just didn't know it back then. I'm a different kind of teacher than my dad. My dad taught in a high school, right? So I've never taught in a school system other than I was an adjunct professor at my university for a while, my alma mater. But I really am a teacher at heart by nature in my skill set. And I love to teach other people and watch the light bulb go off when they get a concept, when they see life a different way, when they learn something more about themselves or about this amazing world that we live in.
Wow.
So ultimately, somewhere in me, I knew that back then, but I didn't know why. And so it's taken me all these years, we won't count how many,
Yeah, to actually find out.
Come full circle and really acknowledge that at my core, I am a teacher.
Yeah, amazing. So you later created our Make Your Passion Playbook. What inspired you and what is the core of the message behind it?
The core of the message behind it is that you can monetize your passions, right? So the Make Your Passion Pay is just a catchy tagline to say turning passion into profit. And I believe that whatever it is you're passionate about, there is a way to monetize it. There is a way to monetize it. And so the playbook is just 6 C's of steps or keys to putting all the pieces together to actually end up with a monetized passion. They are clarity. You got to get crystal clear on what it is that you want to create in your life and what you're passionate about. then connection, which really is developing core values and connecting the core values to your work and to the people around you, so you attract the right customers, the right team members. So you're connecting with the right people to support you, because nobody does this alone. And then it builds towards collaboration and building community first, and then collaboration. And that's strategic partners kind of collaboration and finding the right people, right, who are aligned with your values. Your values run through this whole thing, right? And there's a commitment. There's a commitment to living this way. And it's really about reprogramming your old program, your negative thoughts, your fears, your blockages, into having faith that you can create it and fully stepping into that co-creation of what it is that you want to have in your life, live and be and serve. Because all we really want to do is make a contribution. It's another C, by the way. I think I have to add it to the playbook.
Yeah, amazing.
I have found more C's in the world since I developed the 6 C's. It's so funny. And finally, what happens is when you have that freedom and that glorious clarity on where you're going, you get more creative. You get more creative. And so I always tell a story of, and some people stumble on it, but a friend of mine is a police officer in Lubbock, Texas. And in Lubbock, Texas, apparently, they have these graffiti artists that were doing graffiti all over the plain walls in the city, right? A restaurant owner decided that he wanted the theme of the interior of his restaurants to be graffiti. These two gentlemen who were simply doing their art on the walls of the city now make $50,000 roughly per restaurant for doing graffiti. And so I go, if they can do that, we can find a way to monetize anything.
Yeah, so true,
right?
so true. Yeah,
So
this is
true.
really,
So
really
that's-
amazing.
I spent years just helping people to discover their passions and then realized that they got blocked up again and they didn't know how to monetize them. They're going, this is great, but I can't make money doing this. And it's like, yeah, you can. We just have to build the right structure around it.
Around it. Wow, amazing. So in your coaching, what is the one most common reasons people lose touch with their passion, and how do you help them reconnect to it?
The reason why they lose it is often fear. Fear of change, fear of stepping out and being their authentic self, fear that it might not work. So it could be fear of success or fear of failure. But fear is often what stops us from many things. And that fear is false evidence appearing real. Acronym, false evidence appearing real, and it's all right here. We're making it up in our heads, and we've made up a story of why it won't work and created that fear, all in our heads.
Wow.
So a lot of my work, I was getting people to drop into their heart, and really, what do you love? What do you love the most? And we identify that first, and we get really clear on what it is you want to create in your life. And then if you want to create a business to monetize what you love, then we work towards that. And we use the playbook to create the structure for the business and attract the right clients.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thanks for actually sharing that. So you speak about bringing joy and connection into workplace. Why do you believe that joy is such an underrated business strategy?
Why is it underrated? You know why? Because people think it's a fluffy emotion. And Brene Brown, I don't know if you know that name. Brene Brown is a best-selling author and researcher. And she says joy is the hardest emotion for people to feel. They don't really know what it is, right? So one day I'm driving on the interstate and I see this billboard and it says joy delivered daily. And I looked closer at the picture, and it was a picture of a mother holding her brand new baby. And I thought, if there's ever a moment I could pinpoint to describe joy, it's that moment of that pure love for that infant that you created, right? And that joy is the joy we're looking for and don't know how to find. And you know what it is, too? It's all around us. We're just not paying attention because we're moving so fast, searching for something else. So people most often are searching for success based on making money. And that's not always what brings people joy. In fact, very rarely is the money what literally brings them joy, right? And so uncovering your passions helps you identify the emotions that really, those things you love the most, that when they start to happen for you, when you start to see them in every day, in the little things that happen, joy is felt more frequently, right? And what do people want in life? They want joy and fulfillment. And so when we do it in the workplace, okay, when we create joyful workplaces, it's about helping the employees, the team members, identify their own passion for their work. And I believe people intuitively find themselves in the right work. They just don't know it consciously.
Yeah.
Because they're too busy complaining about life to look for the joy. And so when we help them see their passion in their work, their contribution, that which gives them fulfillment and brings them joy, they come to work for a different reason. They come to give of their skill set. They come to put joy in their own heart. And when they're functioning in joy, the whole environment becomes a more joyful place.
Wow, so key, so key. I think the analogy you just gave just speak volume, because I just remember a particular more like story that speak volumes today. That I think it was about 2 men building a cathedral, and the first man was being asked, "What are you doing?" And yeah, his own was more like, I don't know how he put it again. I think it was just the perspective of, I'm just here just to make the $2 cents. I'm just here to make the money they're going to pay me. And the next person was being asked, "What are you doing here?" And his perception was, I can't remember what exactly the role was, but it was making reference of, was building something more like was building the future. I mean, I can't remember what the word is, but just those different perception of what each person is thinking about their work really speak volumes to the energy they put and the joy they have doing what they do.
Right. So that reminds me of a company that I worked with, and they made parts for tractors, farm equipment, right? But what their theme was in the company was, we're feeding America, because the parts that we make for those tractors are the tractors that get the food out of the fields. And so we're feeding America. Now I can come to work and know that I'm contributing to something greater than myself in the world. That's what people want.
So true, so true, so true.
I don't know if they complain about the next generation. They complain about the Y generation around here. And it's not the letter Y that they've been labeled with as a generation. It's the word why. They want to know why they're doing that work. What is the meaning in it? How is it going to make the world a better place? And if it's not meaningful, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, so true, so true.
So you see how that company drew meaning from making bolts and parts for tractors? They drew meaning to it by saying that we feed America.
Yeah,
and that's what we need to give people, is the meaning behind their work. And then they find fulfillment and joy in it, and then we create more joyful workplaces. Now, each and every one of us in that place of employment are part of the solution, a part of the contribution, a part of making our world a better place in some way, or somebody's life better in some way.
Yeah.
And that's what we all really want.
Yeah, I think if everybody more like see their work from this different end, being that beyond just them more like showing up every day, they're actually more like part of the whole system that make things better, make the community better, make our world better. And yeah, it's such a lovely way of seeing work, not just from the perspective of just keeping the day going, compared to more like seeing it from, yes, I'm building the communities, I'm making it better, I'm making it. Yeah, it's really an amazing way of seeing things.
That's exactly where you draw the connection to, right? When each business is joyful and making each other better in the business, better businesses make better communities. But better communities are going to make a better world for all of us, right? Yeah. And, this we say in B&I, the language of referrals is universal. And that's why the company operates in 76 countries. Well, the language of joy is universal.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing.
Right.
So you have trained and spoken to audience around the world. What is one transformation moments for a retreat or trainings that still move you today?
One training that I experienced or when I've delivered something to someone else. So I would say the passion test is the most transformational thing that I've experienced, but it's probably because it's the first real true transformation and has given me the ability to add other modalities and things into my life that I never would have done before. You know, the BNI organization has opened up the world to me, and being connected to that greater organization that's an international organization. So those are two things for me personally and things that I've had. There's one other too I always like to talk about. And so I got to speak on a stage to 1,100 people, 1,500, whatever.
Yeah.
And the first time I was on that stage, I actually went in the room early in the morning to get comfortable and feel confident on this stage, right? But then when I got up there to speak, they dropped the lights and I couldn't see anybody.
Ooh.
And so there was no eye contact. I could see no reaction. I could hear, if there was laughter or clapping, of course, but I didn't like that. I'm such a people person. I gotta be able to see them, which is a problem with social media too. I struggle with social media because there's not immediate interaction. There's interaction, but it can take days, weeks, before you see somebody respond. And so I learned from that I don't want to speak on giant stages. I want to speak on stages where I can connect with the people in the room. Inside companies and corporations, right? When you're with their team of people, I would love to speak to those people.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, thanks for that. So the I Hug movement, it's such a unique initiative. How did it begin, and what was the first movement? What was the first moment you knew that is something special?
So, at a transformational seminar that I was at, this gentleman passed these out. This one's a sticker, but it's normally a pin that says, I hug. And he told us the story of his life and how that his family was never huggers and that therefore he was never a hugger. And then he went to this business seminar, if people out there know the name Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul series and Canfield Success Principles. And in the Canfield Success Principles seminar, one of Jack's exercises is he says, everybody get up. There's 600 people in the room. Everybody get up and go hug as many people as you can.
Woot!
And Robert, the gentleman that introduced this to me, said, I was so mad. I came to a business success seminar and he's asking me to hug people. What is going on? But he just felt obligated, and so he did. And he said, I knew immediately after the exercise why he did it. These 600 people had come in their business suits, stressed out, overworked, anxious, and after the exercise, everybody was relaxed. It shifted the whole energy in the room, and Jack said, there, now that you're relaxed and comfortable, you're ready to learn.
Wow.
And not in that uptight, anxious state. So anyway, I started wearing it. I started wearing this button everywhere that I went. And I did it because I am a hugger and I love to hug people.
Yeah.
And I decided it was some kind of a warning that, hey, I'm going to hug you. Just know that I'm a hugger and I'm going to hug you. And I'd forget that I was wearing it. It was so common for me to have it on my lapel that I would forget that I was wearing it. And people would come across a room, a hotel lobby, an airport terminal and go, I hug too. And I'd go, do you need a hug? And they'd go, yes. And so I'd give them a hug. And this kept happening. And so it became a human experiment to see. And I was telling people about the experiment and I was capturing the stories. And they're like, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. I have to write a book. So I did. I wrote a book. Wow. It's called I Hug, My Journey as a Hugger, and it has scientific backing for the importance of the human hug and how it changes your physical hormones and energy and emotional feelings. And it has stories from transformational leaders about their experiences with hugs, like Jack's story and how he uses it in his seminars. And my stories are in there. This is a little book, about 80 pages, Great little read that'll make you smile and want to hug people.
Wow.
So then, now it gets better. So then I decided, in some download I had or meditation that I needed to eye hug across America during the 2020 presidential campaign to combat the political polarization that was going on here in our country. I told my friend I was going to do that, and she's like, "What? You can't do that. Somebody's going to hurt you." I'm like, "I'm 4'11". Who's going to hurt me? Like, I'm harmless little spark, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, "I dare you. I dare you to go to the Trump rally in Minneapolis. I live in Minnesota. Go to the Trump rally in Minneapolis and hug people." And I said, "Okay." And so I went and hugged people. And Minneapolis did this really cool thing where they separated the Trump supporters and the non-supporters. So they were on two different sides of the building of the convention center so that they didn't interact with each other. And I was hugging in the Trump supporter line, and they're all saying, "This is so great. We're so glad you're here. This is what we need more of in our world." And they were all happy to see me. And then they said, "You got to go to the other side of the building. Those people are the angry people." And I'm like, "Who's on the other side of the building? I don't know." So I go to the other side of the building and I find these people in masks before we needed to wear masks. And they're blowing whistles and they're yelling and they're saying, they had signs that said hate never cured hate. And I'm like thinking, well, then why are you acting that way? Because you're acting in a hateful manner. But I just hugged them. I just went around that crowd and I hugged people too. And they said the same thing. "Oh my gosh, we're so glad you're here. This is what people need right now. This is what our world needs. This is so great." Some people dropped their signs about hate and picked up my sign. I had little signs that said free hugs and would take one of my signs and they'd go start hugging people too.
Wow.
And so it was like, I'm just going to keep doing this. Of course, what happened in 2020? A little thing called a pandemic where we couldn't even go outside, let alone hug each other, kind of shut the show down. But
Wow.
I still keep going. And likely there'll be another year, another campaign that we need it again.
Yeah,
But
amazing. Amazing.
it's another common language. Now, some cultures, it's different, right? So you gotta be careful of that. But that's why I warn people and I wear my button.
Wow. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So you have spent decades helping others ignite purpose. What mindset shifts do you believe is most critical for anyone feeling stuck or uninspired?
Find their passion. I mean, I think it's really simple, and that's my work in the world, to help people find their passion.
Okay.
And to know that they can step into that, you know? So being authentically who you are. We have a epidemic of comparison where we compare ourselves to other people and they're doing better than we are, or they're smarter than we are, or they're taller. Great. We're constantly comparing ourselves, but we don't need to be like anybody else. The world has taught us we need to try and conform and be like everybody else. But that's not the truth. The truth is we have to know ourselves and be ourselves, and your passions are clues and they give you confidence to do just that.
Wow. Amazing. 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 So how do you personally stay aligning with joy and purpose while running multiple projects and coaching others?
I follow my passions. That's what I do. That's the truth. What I teach others, I implement in my own life, right? And so one of my passions is to inspire others. Going out and speaking about these concepts and being with people and hugging people is inspiring others.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thanks for sharing. So what does success mean to you now compared to when you first started your career?
I wish I could quote Earl Nightingale. It's something to the effect of, success is the continuous work on a worthy cause. Continually working towards a worthy cause. I may never get everybody in the world hugging, but I'm going to keep trying and I'm going to keep working on it. And it makes me feel like I'm making a contribution. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Right?
does.
And so it's not about a particular status or money or what things I have. It's that I'm doing good work in the world. That's what success is to me.
Wow, that's really amazing.
Right? So in the passion test, we say the key to living a passionate life is that whenever you're faced with a choice, a decision, or an opportunity, consistently choose in favor of your passions. Thus, why everybody needs to clearly understand what theirs are so that every decision you make, right, is in alignment with that. And again, it's reprogramming what else has been running you to make decisions to think that way and follow your passions. And we say your passions are breadcrumbs leading you on your path to your purpose.
Amazing.
It's a journey. And that life's journey to me is not achieving any particular level of success or understanding this world out here. It's knowing this person right here, knowing myself at my soul level. That's the journey.
Amazing. Amazing. So finally, if you could leave our listener with one spark of wisdom for their journey, what will it be?
I know I'm a broken record, but find your passion, live your purpose.
Find your
My
passion,
favorite,
live your purpose.
my personal quote is when you get connected to your life's flow, everything comes easier. So when you're truly living in the flow of your passion, your authentic self, it feels easier out here. And I want that for people. I want people to live in joy. In fact, little known fact, my name Luann means blessed joy giver.
Ouch. Wow. Now I see where the spark is coming from.
Yes, I want to help everybody find their spark, right? That's true too.
Wow, amazing. Luann, it's really lovely having this conversation, and yeah, I really enjoy every bit of it. So how can my audience connect with you? How can my audience get your book, and where can they connect with you, and where is the best platform to do this?
Best platform is my website, and it's super easy. It's Luann B, like the B for my last name, luannb.com. And on my website, there is on the very homepage access to a complimentary conversation with me. So if you want to learn more, discover more for yourself, have a one-on-one conversation, just go book there with me and we'll jump on a Zoom no matter where you are in the world. We'll figure out a time and we'll connect.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing your hearts, your journey, and your spark with us today. Your story reminds us that purpose and profit don't have to compete. They can coexist beautifully when we lead with love and intention. To all our listeners, you can learn more about Luann's work, coaching, and I hug movement at luannb.com, or book a complimentary business acceleration call through her link on the website. This has been the Aro Benaiah Show, where we celebrate people who build, create, and inspire with their hands and hearts. Until next time, stay grounded, stay inspired, and keep your spark alive. Once again, it's really a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you again.